Hello, 1, 2, and maybe even 3. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Fraud No-Go time, which means I once again have a guest caster. It's Neblime. What's up, dude?
I'm here, but I don't know, it is only 1 and 2, no third caster today.
No third caster, but maybe third viewers. I can imagine we'll get at least 3 views. I mean, I know it's the Shambler, but you guys like to hate watch, right? It's the Shambler taking on Hamster. It'll be a Terran versus Terran mirror. We got 2 games, so let's see how game numero uno kicks off on a 4-spawn map by Biddy Blackwater Bastion. That's a lot of Bs. That's actually 4 Bs. So still not 3, but you know what? That works out. We got the Shambler here on the top left, as I'm going to call it, Yellow Terran. Yes, indeed. And in the top right, we have Hamster as the Celadon Terran. Okay, well, Shambler is typing already. But that's probably because he knew that I would guess those colors correctly. That was one.
Yeah, that's his reaction to the colors, obviously. Obviously.
So there you go.
It's interesting what you say about like hate watching Shambler because, because Hamster here is in the anti-Shambler society, so presumably these wins are going to be meaning a lot to him. I'm just assuming he wins, right? He's sending out a Mason already. Is he going to proxy? I don't know if I like it, but hey, are we looking at the sort of like base brute war dynamic where you just put the stockade on the map for like scouting stuff? You're not too committed. I don't know. No, he's building in his base. Why did he scout so early? I don't get it.
That's already a question from Neblime here, the analyst desk, confused by Hamster's moves. I will say though, one of the things I've been enjoying about like casting with, obviously Meska's back and casts with me sometimes. V casted me that one time where Neblime yourself versus Arbu's PvP on. What was it? The new Germination. So that was pretty cool. And then we also have Dominic Fury joining us every now and then. So he calls hacks just because he scouts him first, apparently.
Wait, did Hamster actually see it though? Did he just go in and leave without seeing it?
I don't think he saw anything. Yeah, that's
because he didn't check for the fulcrum and he's going down. But Shambler gave it away and he still didn't realize. Oh my god, this is disastrous for Hamster so far, honestly.
Very interesting, very interesting. Well, yeah, I think Shambler may have realized it. I don't know. He types for any reason, right? So a little bit of tickling here as the Mason gets blocked.
And so, what were you saying about casting with Mesk? You got to
just casting with everybody. I get to get everybody's little different nuances and opinions, and like I was saying about like the analyst desk as like a bit of a joke, but like not genuinely, it's really interesting when you have like your opinion on stuff. It's like a microcosm of what all of these competitive players think. Like Shambler is very stolid and staunch in his belief that bio is terrible, but Hit 'em Up has been trying to make it work just out of spite because of that, and he's actually been making some stuff happen versus Ramen and maybe also versus Hamster. I'm not sure. Hamster himself obviously leaning into bio a little bit lately with his Covenant add-on already on the way. So, you know, we're seeing some stuff that lends me to believe that the dream for bio is not dead. Now, this is after the Maverick has received its +1 armor penetration. So it will be a little bit more favored versus mech, which is what Shambler is going for. Hamster, we'll see if he is able to do something, some shenanigans here with the Eidolon. It's very fast, I gotta say. It's going to be a sub 3-minute Eidolon.
Yeah, you know, we have seen before that the Eidolons in TVT are definitely useful as a matter of keeping them alive. And I really doubt that Hamster's going to rely on Mavericks too much here. I'd like any unit that comes out of the Fulcrum is probably pretty good against Mavericks. You know what? Cost for cost, they probably beat Vultures. I don't know.
Yeah, it really depends on the engagements, and I still think Mavericks are probably best versus like as far as staffing anchors in the early game are concerned for raw DPS. Now the question is, will you actually be able to be within range of the enemy in order to deal meaningful damage? And I'm not sure about that one. But as far as the early game is concerned, in terms of what you can meaningfully staff into a garrison, I would say Mavericks are pretty good, especially if you can stim them before jumping them back in. And while we're on that subject, what do you think about that whole interaction? Because I always thought it was kind of thematic that you unload, stim, and then load them in. I think in Starcraft 2, at least in the campaigns, you can stim them without unloading them, which is a little interesting as like a change of that. But
I don't think so. I don't remember doing that in Starcraft 2. Look, man, it has been like 3 years.
Well, I'm saying campaign specifically. I think in the melee, you still have to do it.
No, I think even in campaign, you cannot do that. But honestly, actually, I don't remember a time in the campaign when I would have been doing that. Maybe, but I really don't think you can. That said, it would be well within the technical constraints of StarCraft 2 if they wanted it to be that way, definitely. Look, have you ever played 20,000 Goon Defense? You get sort of addicted to doing the ungarrison stim, and honestly, it feels good in TVZ. when you're like, oh, he's coming with his too much lurker attack, and like, here he comes. We got to hit all the buttons. Like, quick unload, get in.
Yeah, some tactile like satisfaction from doing that. I think, and honestly, as a spectator as well, I find it looks very cool. But I understand that some people would there's an information gap that they have to bridge initially, and so I would understand why maybe some people think it's a little bit wonky or whatever. It's just I think it's interesting. It's like, yeah, of course you would try to buff the unit and then put him back in. Like it feels like an intuitive nexus convergent point of all of the like many different gameplay mechanics in one. The like garrison, the stim in the first place, and the fact that you can't select units while they're in a garrison, but you can tell them to unload, that sort of thing. Anyway, I'm blabbing a lot, but that's just one of the things that I think of. And
like, what are you saying?
He has no idea that Shambler's on the top.
He still doesn't know. Well, luckily his plan was just sitting at home and building a ministry, so it worked out okay. But man, look how far behind he is in workers.
No quarry.
Shambler. Yeah, getting this quarry. And honestly, I still have to say sending that early scout made it more expensive for him to do all this stuff. So that plays a part. Now, Shambler coming up here with a pretty scary army for this tiny little force. But with the Eidolons, if the Ancient dies fast, they will chew through this stuff. But the Cyclops splash can be scary. Though, unfortunately, the Ministry landing at the worst possible moment. I don't know if Hamster wants to come down here. Let's see.
Well, the Watchdog's going to finish. That's going to put some damage onto the Anseal, which is very nice. And the Eidolons have been sniping at the extremities. So I think this is a bit of a failure of control here for Shambler. He's going to get one Eidolon. Will he get anything else? I feel like the answer is no. The Anseal will be sniped. And he doesn't even manage to score more than a single Huracan kill at the end of all of that.
Oof. Yeah, it is. It's kind of an all or nothing thing with those Eidolons. If you get the Cyclops Splash and kill them all, it's just such an extreme loss for Hamster that I feel like it was kind of a situation where if Shambler did well, the game would end. But now Shambler's still here, still typing.
He's still typing with 5 idle workers under his ministry.
I don't think you really care that Hamster's expanded, because look at the difference in workers. Now that said, I mean, Shambler's getting pretty oversaturated by this point, but he'll land this treasury soon enough. And I think he's still, if you looked at like the minerals harvested 5 minutes later in this game, I think Shambler would still be comfortably ahead.
Yeah, that's probably true. It's just a question of the fact that he's traded his whole army down without much production to back it up. He's only now adding a third Fulcrum. The other one was kind of placed in a weird location. Probably not going to factor in. Starpad not currently making anything. He's just made the one, or 2 Anseals actually over there. I believe this was played before I added the unique Anseal corpse graphic, so we won't be seeing that, unfortunately. But this Mason will...
Maverick.
Yeah, this Maverick will block the treasury, which is very funny. You couldn't even see his death. It was censored to avoid blocking in Germany or something. And of course,
about Shambler, losing his whole army. Honestly, I think if Hamster counterattacked, he had a pretty good shot of winning the game. Even now, I'm looking at these armies. I'm like, well, if Shambler is sort of like hanging around there sieging, who knows? But he does have no sustain right now.
Yes.
Even just clerics. I mean, Shaman would be better because you can abuse the Eidolons better with that. But even just clerics would be really helpful here. But he's repaired a little bit. He's going to try and come out here, but I don't know. I can see this going badly if he tries to engage that anchor too much.
Well, and you know what? It's funny because like, when you're looking at the Eidolon, you definitely... Like, I've seen Mavericks have their suits repaired. I've seen Cyprians have their suits repaired. The repair onto Eidolons, for some reason, looks really funny to me. So that's a little bit of a nod to the fact that, of course, they originally, in the base game, they were not able to. But in Cosmonarchy, it's a very different world,
You can repair, like, Zerg stuff you reclaimed, man. So don't pretend it's like their suits. Don't try and make it make sense,
What do you mean? You're just welding the holes in their hide,
I see. Zerg biology is like tough enough for that. See, this is a problem for Hamster here. I guess he avoids most damage. No, he lost one.
Oh.
The Huracan actually a traitor, but look at this. This is the problem with the Eidolons. If you can get close enough, they really are not going to do well. The Huracan's trying to do their best, but honestly, Cyclops absolutely devastated. I mean, now he's forced to retreat. Will he get out of here with anything except these Anseals? I don't think he will.
No, that not happening at all. The Anseals for Shambler noted having quite the effect onto the enemy army, and Cyclops man reigning supreme. What's very strange to me is that a lot of Terran players have been reporting massive success by spamming Cyclops. So I think that's your worst nightmare, and also maybe mine.
You should tone that down a bit, qualify that a little. I don't know if they're really getting massive success, but in this case,
apparently smoking even Protoss. Let's see if Hamster's just going to fall over here. This is looking very deadly.
Yeah, I think this game is over as long as Shambler just comes up this ramp. I mean, the Eidolon's going to try and do their damage, and this is what they want to do. They want to sit in the back doing stuff. But I mean, with 3 Anseals, no, 2 Anseals? Yeah, 3 Anseals. Yeah, that's enough.
That's enough for him. GG is going to be called, and the Shambler will take the first round here. Again, as mentioned, we have 2 matches here to enjoy. It looks like that first one fairly quick, fairly snappy at the end of it all.
Yeah, so Cyclops definitely effective in that situation, but I have to say, like, imagine you made just a bunch of Cyprians. They would absolutely crush Cyclops. I mean, they're going to need a little bit of healing. Again, I feel like Clerics would have been a good pick.
Well, Cyprians are more gas intensive. Listen, I would love Cyprians to be meta because they have been kind of ignored for a very long time. Except for, well, I can't really say that. They just feel more niche than Cyclops are now, which is a bit weird.
They definitely still get made because it's like early game, you need some defensive unit. That's what you make if you made a Stockade. So I think they have a place.
Yes. Yeah.
But are you really going to spam those later in the game when they cost so much gas? And like you're going to have like, mineral units only plus a bunch of Cyprians? I don't know.
Right, yeah. Compositionally, I would imagine it's a little bit difficult to slot them in. Back in the day when they were 75-25, like the Cyclops currently is, there was a very different beast. Benno graduated from the Academy of Spamming Mavericks into the school of Spamming Cyprians, so you know how it goes.
Never forget the Cyprian meta, man.
Yes, yeah. When they penetrated Gorgons and everything else, or Gorgorcores rather, and everything else. Well, Impetus 2 is
definitely penetrated Gorgons.
Oh, yes, big time. And Shambler will be I'm going to guess... This could be Zephyr, but I'm going to guess...
It's blue. It's just blue.
There's no way it's blue. It's
fuck.
It's
right.
definitely not blue. It must be Ultramarine.
Let me take part.
Yeah.
I have no idea what this green is called.
That's Celadon for sure.
Oh, I guess it's pink.
Yeah, there it is. So, there you go. All right, well, Hamster in the bottom left, Shambler in the top right. Blue screen by typing. That's the only way he can win. Right. You just disregard the fact that he just won the last game. It's the only way he can win.
Here on Impetus, I expect Hamster will be able to find his opponent. Once again, this super early scout. My God. He's getting gas this time, so I think he's going to make a Fulcrum of his own.
Yes. Could even be forward, but, the Shambler's leaving at the same time, so they have something in common.
Yeah, I don't know about that. You gotta mine those minerals, man. That guy's not mining minerals. What are they doing? I mean, okay, you can see you can afford a Fulcrum for this. Well, look at this. Hamster has to cut workers for this.
Yes.
I'm not really sure what the idea is here. And he did get very behind in workers in the other game too.
Ooh, look at this. He's going top lane. You know what? I think you spoke too soon. Hamster has no idea where the Shambler is. No, he is actually, it looks like a box scout. What the heck is going on here, Hamster?
No, he must be proxying, right? There's no way.
No, that's if you hold Alt, you can see the order. That's a box scout for sure.
Did he think this was like Maxium or something? Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
No. Imagine if you could spawn there, how screwed you'd be.
Well, not only that, imagine if Hamster decided to end scout instead of box scout. Then it would have been maximum.
I think he's realized his mistakes. Yes. Well, I always used to do this. I'm trying to remember what map it was.
It was Derelict, and I think you thought it was whatever the Nitro Valley. You thought it was that.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was in Cosmonarchy. That's right. No, he's not going in there. Come on, Hamster can't claim not to know this map. Maybe he's looking for a proxy from Shambler.
Oh, it could be. It could be. Sometimes you'll see the forward Fulcrum or whatever. But yeah, why wouldn't you have it? Why wouldn't you continue the scout? That's what I want to know.
Dude, for real, is Hamster drunk or something when they played these games? I don't know what he's doing. He's coming back. He's just coming home. Maybe he's just thinking like, oh, a vulture's going to be out. I missed my chance. I'll just go home. Like, yeah, I guess it makes sense.
I suppose if you wanted to guarantee keeping the worker alive. In fact, actually, Shambler is going to have to battle for his own worker here. And right now, his vulture's actually pulling back a little bit here. So we'll see.
I see though.
Yeah, the mine might actually detonate, and then suddenly you have no...
Where's Shambler's vulture, though? He just ran back into his base. He could have got a free kill there. But he totally missed out. Now he even lost a mine, even his way of looking at it. Oh, look at that.
Ooh, sass.
Oh,
sass. Whoa, what are you doing, Shambler? My Shamble man in Shamblers.
The Cyclops will save the day.
Nah, dude, just disregard. Just fight the Cyclops, too.
I don't think you win that 1v1, especially because you have to either move from the splash or you just get so much DPS. But a 2v2, that you can win.
There you go. Now, 2 more mines can be placed here by Hamster, but he will be seen off by the legendary Cyclops. This is paring down your early army. It's a very interesting choice, but apparently these two want blood from each other. No bloodless handshake, phalanx, chess in real-time strategy terms.
Well, that's what Hamster wanted last game, right? Because the Eidolons are really good against static positions with phalanxes or whatever else. But the Cyclops, they like to move around, definitely.
Yep. They like you to not move around too much, but if you do, and they're in sufficient numbers, I guess it doesn't matter. That's what we saw out of the Hurricanes anyway. Well,
have you ever played in Brood War those like zombie defense games, where you're just up on the high ground with your like 20 bio units or whatever, and the extremely tanky zombie units running around, and there's so many units shooting at it, it looks like it's like on fire. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if you have enough Cyclops, it starts to look like that too.
I just liked I think it was Cyclops against an Anciel, and we were casting it. I think we were casting it anyway. There was some silly thing where it was basically like a ridiculous line of like projectiles or hit markers with Cyclops.
Oh, that's right. It was drawing on the map.
Right. Yeah. So stuff like that can happen.
There's a mini game there.
Yeah.
Like you do whatever. What's the drawing mini game called? I'm pulling a blank.
You have to draw
Pictionary? Yeah, you do Pictionary, but in Cosmonarchy.
Cyclops Pictionary.
Yeah.
Okay. That'll be interesting. Yeah, I guess, I could see a world where that happens. So maybe somebody will get on that.
Would it be possible to have a UMS that makes their thing last longer, or is that beyond the scope of what a UMS can do? Oh my god. Hamster coming in here. Don't you know I'm talking about maps, Hamster? Why are you throwing away your army?
Not only that, but throwing away our precious commentary. Hamster, what are you doing?
Yeah. Don't you want to talk about random UMS maps in the middle of this 1v1?
I think I do like how there's a very... Shambler plays anything. He'll play Evolves. He'll play any of the UMS maps. He'll also play 1v1s and team games. And then there's some people who are like, well, that was fun for 30 seconds. Back to 1v1s, please.
Yeah, you calling me out right now? Is this a Neblime call outpost, honestly?
No, I was actually thinking of hit him up in that moment.
Oh, okay. Well, honestly, I'm like that.
Or maybe it was Crankendow, actually. I don't even know if Hit 'em Up might not have even deigned to give us a playtest on UMS map. I think I was thinking of Crank or somebody else like that. So anyway, there's been a number of people. We actually have a ton of new people playing the game for the first time. So eventually that faded Neblime beginner stream is going to happen, and you might actually be at that 4 hour mark for a replay length by now. Yeah,
we're actually getting into content, I have to say. So maybe not too long. It has been delayed a lot more than I would have liked. I kept thinking I'd do it this time and that time, but one of these days, man, it will happen.
Yeah, Toyota's already nagging you, so better watch out.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, I don't know what Hamster was thinking when he attacked up the ramp there. Now, he's put himself in a bit of an awkward position. Now, these mines are buying him a lot of time, but say he had those, 4 or 5 more vultures, he'd have enough to really, kill stuff as it got caught in the mines. As it is, I don't know if you want to engage. He's getting phalanxes out, though. So if phalanx can come across and take this position, it'll be looking really good. And one of the main problems the phalanx is going to have against Cyclops, right, is if they run in and get too close, but these mines will nicely stop that. So he's going to have a potentially good position. No Trojan coming out. No Cyclops drops can be effective. Oh, but the Antsil actually totally negates these mines, of course, and there's no phalanx here.
Yep, no lockdown happening. Hamster, he was trying to play Pictogram with mines, but obviously Pictogram with Cyclops is just better. Pictionary, so easy
better drawing tool. Scatter to the 4 winds, off they go.
Off they go. It's very interesting because we do have a double star pad out here for Hamster. He was making some rates, but he's kind of stalled out on his production there, now resuming. I have heard that, I think Ramen was saying that rates, for example, we were doing some quick efficiency tests, and in a head-to-head fight, rates definitely outscale, for example, Sundogs, because their roles are completely different.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that and thinking, well, their stats aren't impressive, but they're just so cheap, and Sundogs are not. Yes. And take into account the cost of the rotary is actually insane.
Yeah. However, when you factor in a bit of a sobering thought for that is, of course, the fact that the composition of a player as a whole would probably make rates a lot less efficient because they're so easy to destroy. But in the early game, you can get to a pretty nice stack of those. You think about the amount it takes you to one-shot individual units, and even if it's double-digit or 20s or something like that for one-shotting some of the Protoss units, you can still reach that with 2 or 3 pad Wraith. So definitely a possibility.
If you want to see Cyprians, man, that's the way you get there, because that's the problem I find with Wraiths. A couple Cyprians or Madrigals will just shut them down. That's why you don't want to make too many, but they always have that element of well, it's an air unit, so I'm over here while your Roman's over there, I'm going to kill your stuff, right? So I think definitely viable in all matchups. Only 2, we've had this conversation, I think, many a time, actually, but I got to reiterate, I'm not a fan of going only 2. I really like going a very hard commitment to race, but other players have made it look pretty good, I will say. Newt, who's no longer with us, has made it very scary just to harass and do a lot of damage, but still go into ground stuff, where, Simple Brain Neblime was well, I make Wraith and I win with Wraith.
Yeah, that's right. The Phalanx is moving forward. They're actually going to go ahead and knock out the shields of the Antsil, demonstrating that, indeed, the Antsil does absorb the splash now.
Actually, he does retreat. Those Antsils. No, he doesn't retreat. Get out of there, man. You're going to take damage. Oh, my God. Here come the Wraiths, though.
Indeed, they're going to go ahead and head up to the natural. There's no defenses over here immediately, so the Goliaths will have to skirt on up, and the Antsil allowing them to, not actually get that last Wraith on the bottom. Only a couple workers going down, so it wasn't the worst. I mean, he has to resaturate that ridge. A bit of an APM tax, but, other than that, Shambler seems to be fine.
I don't think that's the level of damage Hamster is looking for here, though, because he's really sacrificed the ground army. I mean, he has 2 Palladiums he could start using, but he doesn't have much right now.
Yes.
Invested a lot into this. I think he needed more than that, and Shambler way ahead on workers already, getting this 3rd base. Now, looks like Hamster will be able to extend over to his. The game will go on, but I feel like it's pretty good for Shambler still in this case, but you don't want to lose that treasury, that's for sure.
Yes, that's right. The treasury will be heckled a little bit, but easily repaired. Still rocking the 3 armor means Wraiths have to work a little bit harder than they'd like to work it out. Just remember, if you're ever in a team game, T and P, ask for Barghests with your Wraiths. They'll make so much of a difference.
Also cloaked, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So.
Oh, he doesn't want to find this Cyclops, nest over here.
Yeah,
you don't want to go near that.
Man, we've been seeing a decent amount of Impetus lately on the channel. This was the map that we saw the Lundier special on, so...
Well, it's interesting, right? I'm a big Axiom fan. I like the map a lot more. It seems that Impetus has sort of stood the test of time better, if you will, because it's not as easy to... Oh my god, he can get the star
I think he can snipe it, yeah. There's not anything over here. He's going to go ahead and lift off, so Goliaths finish off. No, and one more volley. Oh, that'll cost him a single Wraith, maybe a second one because of the low HP one on the outskirts, but that's, worth it. I mean, you're shutting down the Ant Seal production for a brief period of time.
Uh-oh. Are they going to run into the Cyclops? Okay, they're probably fine.
Narrowly not. And by the way, the Atlas was started, so Hamster going to be stretching out ahead in tech. Yeah, I have noticed that Shambler likes to stick it out on tier 1 for a very long time, but he looks like he's just heard my commentary yet again. Reacted to it in the moment.
Dude, I'm pretty obnoxious when I'm casting these Terran games, because I'm just going to say, man, if I was playing Terran, I'd be doing this differently.
Yes, yeah. No, this is why we bring you on, you know how it goes?
Yeah, just to roast people, because they can be like... you know what it's like? It's like if I'm just watching pro games and don't even play Starcraft, I'm like, well, you obviously should have done this.
Yes.
I think it's much stronger if you get, at least, 5 or 6 production instructions on tier 1 before you get tier 2, because I don't think there's any game-breaking tier 2 stuff for TBT, if you have phalanxes. Obviously, if you don't have phalanxes, then you're in this sort of blobby army fight where stuff like Apostles, for example, or Seraphs even could be absolutely game-ending, but as long as you have strong static positions, and your opponent is rushing for tier 2 and you're just spamming a lot of tier 1 stuff, I think you're going to have a better situation. Now, he's adding more Fulcrums. He can just start adding the Sentinels or something like that. Might be worth it.
Yeah, I mean, with his tier 2, he's actually not actualizing it. He will be capping 1 gas as his Wraiths plus a single Ant Seal are going to navigate to the upper left.
Good old Mystery Meat back in the day, I think showed us how strong it can be. Just have a really big army, even if it's behind in tech, and just be dominating on the map. And in fact, that's what we see Shambler doing, although I don't think he should try and attack in here. Nor should the Wraiths, probably.
Probably not. I mean, there is the Ant Seal, but he's focusing down individual workers, and now he'll fall away with the Ant Seal shield evaporating.
Yeah, I guess it's not bad.
Now the Vulture moves forward, and it is going to spot this army over here. Now the Phalanx is deploying, so this is going to be a bit of a harder fight now. Oh, the Ant Seal's going way too far forward, and now the Goliath's kind of doing the same thing. Not in lockstep with each other. The stagger line of Phalanxes should be enough to cover a lot of ground here.
Well, there's actually not that much, though. If the Wraiths were here, maybe to fight, but as it stands, there's just too few units on the ground. A lot of mineral back for Hamster as well, I have to point out, but both players, really. And Shambler, just by virtue of numbers, is sort of pushed through here. Still taking shots, though.
Yes, he is, and those Fulcrums on the right, they are not producing a thing. Right now, the production is very, very limited, very minimal. Hamster will be sustaining a lot of losses, down by 40 workers. Maybe a little bit too far forward.
That Phalanx ain't going to make it. I didn't even see what happened to that Phalanx projectile. It just was gone.
Yep.
Oh, no! Friendly fire!
Indeed. Many more workers falling. The Wraiths return home, but there's enough Goliaths here, and they're out of range of the Phalanx, so this is really nice positioning on the behalf of the Shambler.
Yeah, I think he's just going to crush through. He may even in the game. I mean, I know that high ground Phalanx is hard to deal with, but there's so much healing and tanking with the Ant Seals.
Well, these two are actually moving a little bit. Yeah, I was just about to say. Definitely the case. Now, he hasn't actually done any critical damage to the infrastructure. Remember when you were talking about Sentinels? That would have been a good move here, I feels like. But Hamster, I don't know if that was the right time to GG. There was probably still play there because, we know everybody at the level that we're at right now, or what we just casted there, is definitely making a lot of mistakes. Shambler had a big bank. But he did have by far and away the better position. So it does make sense.
His bank was about to get a lot bigger because he had double the workers.
Yes, yeah. So that's why I was saying, Shambler was definitely in a winning position. But, maybe these are games where they're just, practicing quick stuff. If that was a tournament game, I'd expect it to go on a little bit longer.
All right, 3Pro.
So. That's right.
So you'd be staying defending your main ramp, I get it.
Well, I like to think that, compositionally speaking, I would have picked a different thing to Ant Seal mech. But, that's another thing, is Tier 2 is made by both players and not used by either player. So.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you can say when you're banking that many minerals, it's not really a mistake, I suppose. But if you spend all your money, it definitely would have been a waste that was causing problems. And yeah, Sentinels would be fine against that. 3 or 4 Sentinels plus the Phalanxes behind is going to be impossible to break, especially with Cyclops. The Cyclops would be an extinct species, I think.
Yeah, I don't think they would have been able to sustain that. Now, I will point out there is a bug right now. I would consider it a bug. It was technically always a feature, but because splash damage never was absorbed before, this never actually showed up in this matchup. But the last damage that drains an ant seal of its energy is fully absorbed. It doesn't bleed over to damage the HP.
Oh.
So that was why like the phalanxes looked so weak and helpless versus the ant seals. I have told Veek that we need to fix that. So not saying this for any reason other than to bring people up to speed with why that was interacting that way. You play the game in a day or two, that's probably not going to be the case. We'll see how soon we can fix that. But that was what was going on, and one of the reasons why the phalanxes looked so underwhelming. But despite the fact that Hamster definitely, I don't expect Hamster to know about every individual bug. Like, he's not like Jack Yelansky or whatever that just plays the test map more than the actual maps. But when we're talking about that kind of thing, I think generally speaking, because of the strength of splash absorption, once this bug is fixed, we're still going to see like the ramen style 10 Anseal strat, and I feel like that is going to outmode phalanxes for a good amount of time, in this sort of matchup, because previously they just bypassed that mechanic entirely. That is not the case anymore. So I wonder what your thoughts are on the Anseal in the matchup now that I've revealed that to you, because I don't think you actually knew that we changed that recently.
No, I had no idea, but I did know they were very good. Well, can I complain that like all the trouble I was having with Zerg is probably because of that? Although, what am I saying? Like, oh no, my Bactylus shot that did 5 damage is going to be absorbed.
Right.
So yeah, probably not a big deal. But yeah, I think the stack of like 10 Anseals in one spot is pretty overwhelming. And of course, there are options to deal with it, right? You have the Cyprians, especially the Madrigals, and at tier 2, there's too many options to list that will deal with that. But anytime your opponent doesn't have those, if you can micro it well, which I cannot, that's why I never did that, it's really tough to deal with. Something like Goliath, it just has a lot of range, so you can get the engagement. I think we're going to see it a lot, but I think it's the weakest against Terran out of all 3 races. That's the thing. So it's going to be even scarier against Protoss and Zerg.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I still think Lanifex are a great choice versus Terran, and probably in general. I feel like they're one of those underutilized units that I know Arbuz is starting to use a bit more, even though he's famously, in his own words, more of a macro player than a micro one. And so once we get people with higher average APM, it would be pretty cool to see say hit him up, or even, yourself, if you've been favoring the land effect a bit more. It'd be interesting to know, since now you're a Protoss man, full ape mode.
I don't know. You want me to give away the trade secrets or not?
Okay, well, fair enough. We'll save that and tease that for the next time, where I believe I will be casting you versus Ramen, if I'm not mistaken. So a trio of games. But thank you for joining me for this cast of your mortal enemy, the Shambler, and your clanmate, Hamster.
No, my mortal enemy is the Cyclops, which we also saw today.
Yes, that's right. Thank you for joining me for that. I know it must have been difficult. And let's see what happens in the future. Will Cyclops man be meta? Hit him up seems to think so. And you should hit him up if you want to test that. GG's, brother, and thanks for joining me.
See you later.